Hi, all the people out there in the internet world. Um, I'm making these videos because I promised myself that I would do something to help me get comfortable with the idea of promoting my work. So, this is step 100. Not sure, but it's definitely, that's Buddha Cat. It's definitely like one of the big first steps is I've made some videos before, but I'm not comfortable doing them, and I'm not comfortable talking about creative process or what I do or anything. I don't know what the reason for that is. It's a really odd dynamic that I have as a creative person. I have a lot of outlets for my creativity. I paint, I write, I sew. Um, the big one is probably writing. Like it's been there from the beginning. I think even the paintings are kind of a outlet for my writing because they're still stories. Most of them are stories that I've done. Like I practice on portraits and landscapes too, but a lot of the paintings that I do that are important to me, they tell a story. Um, so just trying to figure out how all of that fits together. Um, being creative is innate. I think everyone does it. I mean, everyone tells themselves stories. Everyone has the big life changing moments, rejection, first love, um, pain, loss. Those aren't bigger or grander because I live them. I write them down or paint them because I have no other way to deal with them. So maybe the way you process the stuff, maybe that's just how you handle it. And for me, I have to process it out through stories mostly. Most everything in my life involves stories of one form or another. Um, so, and I have people ask, well, where do you get all these story ideas? Because, it's not like there's a magic story fairy. It's more like my brain tries to figure out the world and it comes up with stories. Uh, so, my newest story right now on Amazon is called Resurrecting Peri, and it's a short story. And it's honestly, I was sitting there one day. My daughter is named after a Greek goddess. And so I was sitting there and I was talking to her about Greek mythology and about the way mythology changes over time and the stories we tell ourselves to help us get through life have changed over time from, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10,000 years ago. They morph because life morphs. We're not the same people we were when we lived in nomadic tribal existence, so our stories change. We don't have to wonder why the moon comes up every night. We know. But the stories are still very important because they still focus on a very unifying factor of humanity, which is we don't know. Like why are we here? And that's basically like why are we here? Why do bad things happen to good people? Those kind of questions that it's very hard to wrap your head around. And I was thinking about all of this, and I was thinking about the goddess Persephone and her path into the underworld as an explanation for summer and winter. And I was like, if she were to be resurrected today or brought back, would it be the same? Would we see it in the same light? What do we need now? More than understanding darkness and light, what do we need Persephone to do? And she was also like a flower maiden, and she was also a maiden of darkness. So I thought about that, and then I decided that Peri would not be, or in my book, Peri, which is Persephone, would not be the same. She would come back, and what we need now more than anything is a feeling of justice, of vengeance, of having the world listen to us. And so that's what happens, kind of. You'd have to read it to find out more. But that was the basis of the story. That was the kernel of the story that embedded in my brain that would not go away. Writing it down is the hard part because it can sit there for months for me. Everybody's different, but for me it can take months, and I will randomly think about it and think about the character and think about what she would do, what she would live, or where she would live, how she would look, what would her life experience be like, and then you have to find a place to start. So a story can't start when they're born because you'd have 22 years of boringness till anything happened. In her case, I think she's in her mid-20s is what I put it as. So you can't do that. So I decided to start it when the action starts, which is typically a good time. But I have to still map out the rest or I don't know who this character is. See, I wish it were so easy that you just wrote and it was done. That'd be nice. So anyway, that's how that story came about. And it deals with a lot of the same elements now that they were dealing with then. It's just different because we have different needs. We understand science better, so we don't need to understand how the world's working, but we do need to understand why, or not why, that's why things happen. We still don't, it still bothers us, everybody, and people still grapple with it. And so that's the basis for this character, is trying to write out a myth of modern telling and figure it out from there. So, I'm going to put the link in the video, but it's called Resurrecting Peri. It's on Amazon. It's $1. I'm going to develop more of them. This is a short story. It's only 22 pages long because I wanted to get it out in its form to get it started. My goal is to put one out every few months and continue the story from there. They used to do them back in the days, like Moby Dick was published this way. I believe a lot of books, Charles Dickens did a lot of it. This serial publishing, where the story gets out and it kind of piggybacks and feeds and develops over time instead of putting it out in one big novel. I tend to do better with that method than I do one big novel because I get bogged down in the middle and can't find my way out. So if you want to wait 20 years for a book, but if I know that I can put it out in serial episodes over shorter periods of time, I can write it much, much faster and get it to you much, much faster. So that's what I'm doing with this one. Anyway, I'm going to try and do these videos. Okay, so for a friend, I'm going to stop saying try. I'm going to do these videos 3 times a week, at least for the next couple months. And you're going to see a lot of me in like fluffy nightgown clothes because I'm not a morning person. I hate it. But recording videos at night presents its own set of challenges because my daughter is also a night owl and I can't really talk with her. She is lovely and she would hijack my whole thread or whole video. So anyway, I will see you later. Say goodbye, old man Buddha. Gonna say bye? He is very upset with me right now at this moment. Can you not tell? He's 15 and he is cranky. He's also starting to get signs of dementia. He's very obsessed with me, so you'll probably see him in a lot of videos because he does not like to leave me alone. Bye.